And welcome back to Sports Weekly on IEMG. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez, talking some college football right now. San Bernardino Valley College back home this upcoming Saturday as they're going looking for their first conference win of the season. The Wolverines dropping to 0-3 in the National Central Conference as they lost on the road at Citrus. So the Wolverines now 1-5 overall, but 0-3 in conference play. They lost to Citrus by a final score of 42-7. The Citrus Owls using a big second quarter to pull away from the Wolverines. They had 28 points. That's 4 touchdowns in the second frame to get the win against the Wolverines. Citrus with 450 total yards in that win. The bright spot for SBVC, Keelan Jackson had a 97-yard touchdown for the Wolverines. But again, they would drop a game 42-7 against Citrus, 1-5 overall, 0-3 in the National Conference. And SBVC, as I mentioned, coming back home this week. And it's going to be live on IEMG. They will take on Golden West in another National Central Conference game. That's this Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff. So make note of that, an afternoon game. Well, recently we had the chance to catch up with the new Cal State San Bernardino Athletics Director, Sharif Eimer. And man, he came into a great spot with the Coyotes. Volleyball's been very good. We saw men's basketball go to the Division II Final Four. We saw baseball make it to the national semifinals. So things are going great at Cal State, and Eimer says he came in at the great time, and he's just trying to take the program to maybe even the next level. Maybe it can bring home a national title like we saw volleyball do a couple seasons ago. Here's Sharif Eimer.
Yeah, we're on a tear, right? And as I'm coming in, I'm 4 months into the job, and you're exactly right. Last year was kind of a banner year, statistically the best year that this athletics department has ever had. And I'm really just looking to come in and not only maintain that level of success, but also, elevate it and see if we can, bring home some more trophies.
The turnaround that Coach Nato has done with that program and how quickly they got good, and to make it all the way to the D2 College World Series and get to that national semifinal game. It was great. I mean, there's tons of IE guys on it, so a lot of local baseball fans were excited about it. What was it like for you? Because, you step into the job and you're like, holy smokes, we've got a national championship contender on the baseball diamond.
No, you're not kidding. I mean, it was the weekend before I started was the regional that we hosted at Fiscalini Field. And then I started, and then that weekend we're up in Monterey Bay for super regionals. And I basically, my first month, I was essentially just traveling with them as they kept winning. And, we're in Cary and, we're in the national championship, the whole tournament, and that whole run was incredible. And like you mentioned, I got to know the guys, I got to know their families, and you're right, a lot of local guys. I started to hear stories about how, we had a leader on the team who held workouts in his backyard during COVID and stuff. I mean, it was just, you start to hear these stories of how driven these guys were. And the piece that I didn't quite know at the time was just how atypical last year's year was relative to baseball's history. And that I think adds to it. And really, if you got to be around the team and the coaches, you wouldn't be surprised at all. That culture is so strong. Mike and his staff are such good coaches. He says, the way he coaches is he just lets the guys, he gets out of the way and lets the guys run with it. But, he does so much for that program and really knows how to stretch every little bit. And the guys feed off of it. And in victory, in defeat, it's just a model group that you just love being around. Baseball was on a tear. And then, women's track sends 5 student athletes to NCAA nationals. And it's like, we don't even have an on-campus track. I mean, what Lauren and that coaching staff are doing with that group is really something special. And it's carried over into this fall. I mean, cross country, every week they keep PRing week after week. And it's just like, each student athlete is really stepping up in a big way, and you're seeing that week to week improvement that we want. And I think it's going to get even more excited following that program in the spring. And then, the fall is just, it's so fun. I mean, we have women's cross country, we've got women's volleyball that is in their very normal, very, very typical ranked position. I think they're 12th this week in the rankings. And, men's soccer just had their first loss over the weekend, but they're on a tear as well, nationally ranked. And, women's soccer, same thing, just, really, really a high technical level, really fun team to watch. It's an exciting fall season around here. I think we've got great coaches. I was blessed. My predecessor left me with some great coaches. And I think in men's basketball, we've been able to make a great hire as well. And, I think we're really looking to carry that forward. And I think probably one of the biggest things that we have going for us as well is, Coach Kim Chernis is long history of success, so many conference championships, national championship. And she embodies sort of what we're about as well. She's not someone who blows over her budget. She's not someone who, skirts the rules or anything like that. I mean, she's kind of the model coach. And so as we bring in these young coaches who are hungry and want to succeed here, they can look to Coach Chernis and know that, they can do things the way I'm going to call them, the right way, and really go about them in a way that they are going to find that sustained success, because she's shown the model that you can do it here.
So as the athletic director, Sharif, how do you support these coaches so they have everything at their disposal? They have the best opportunity to win conference titles, to compete for a national championship. As the AD, what can you do in your role to make sure that they have everything they need to try to make that run?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, right? It's like let's make sure that our resources line up with our expectations, and when they don't, let's game plan together to figure out where we can chase these things down, right? So, even though we do expect to compete for conference championships, we're not always the best funded in our conference. So then we have to get creative, and that's where it's good to have that open dialogue, that open communication with the coaches, so we can talk about what's real, what's going to be impactful, who can help us get to where we're looking to go. And then sometimes, it's just a matter of just some guidance in roster management or personnel management or whatever, right? But it's as I'm getting to know the coaches and I'm getting to know some of their strengths and their weaknesses, I'm just kind of hoping that I can help them along the way and just be conscious of where they can go. And then really just, I try to text, we don't have many losses so far, but when we do have a loss, I try to reach out to the coach and, make sure that they get some encouragement as well. And our student athletes, right? I think as well, it's important that they feel supported when they haven't met their own goals as well. It's easy to be there when they win, but you got to be there when they're losing too, and let them know that, hey, you're still on the right path and success isn't always linear.
And finally, here in this segment, just a quick shout out to Tyler Wells, a former Cal State San Bernardino pitcher out of Yucaipa High School, playing great for the Baltimore Orioles in the postseason. He was great during the regular season as either a starter or even out of the bullpen. He had some great innings striking out some guys against the Texas Rangers in the American League Division Series. But Texas moved on to the ALCS. But congratulations to Tyler Wells on a great postseason and regular season with the Baltimore Orioles. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Weekly on IEMG. Make sure you subscribe to the IE Media Group YouTube channel. My name is Pep Fernandez, and we'll see you next time.